Hi, it's Bruce Whipple. And one of the questions that I get asked an awful lot is how can I acquire a business when I don't have any capital? That's a good question. The first thing is to realize that you are not alone. Most entrepreneurs at the beginning of their career don't have a lot of capital and need to raise that capital. So, how do you do that? Well, first, understand that you need a deal that's worth funding. And the simple truth is that most deals aren't worth funding, and that's the reason so many people have trouble funding them. You want something which is a good industry, has good profit margins, but also something that you can do first, better, or different in. First is hard, but better or different isn't so hard. You want to look for the complaints people have about an industry, how you might be able to improve upon that, and that then when you surround yourself with people who are more experienced that you want on your team, they'll look at that and say, oh, you've got a better mousetrap here. Interesting. So first understand that. And understand, too, that there's more sources of funding than there ever have been in the past. For instance, crowdfunding didn't exist too long ago. So there's plenty of sources of capital if the idea is worthy. And that's what you really need to concentrate on. Okay, so you're just starting out, you don't have a lot of capital, you're concerned that you don't have any track record. So how do you fix that? Well, when Dan Pena created the QLA methodology over 25 years ago, that's exactly the type of person that he created it for, the people who had to raise the capital. So how do you start that journey? If you do it alone with no experience, it's going to be exceptionally hard. But there is a way that you can address that, and that is to surround yourself with a dream team of people who have been there, done that. And we'll talk about how you actually solicit those people and why they would want to do something with you. But then when you go to either look for accountants and lawyers to bring on board, look for financial institutions to lend you money for your deal, or actually talk to acquisitions, it's just not you, but you're surrounded by a group of people that when people look at that team, they'll say, well, he's pretty young, but look at the talent that he's got around them. So that will give you credibility when you look at this. Now, one of the things that a financial institution is going to very likely ask you for is a personal guarantee. Oh, and why would they do that? First, if you're not willing to guarantee the deal, why should they put any money into it? Number one. Number two, you're probably saying, well, I don't have the assets to cover that deal, and that's absolutely right. But you want to deconstruct why a banker wants a personal guarantee. The first reason is to cover any spread between what they loaned and the value of the enterprise or asset should something go wrong. And two, they want to make sure that you have a term you're going to hear a lot of, skin in the game. And that is that you don't decide, well, I've got no money in this deal, I really don't like the deal anymore, so I'm going to exit stage left and leave everyone else holding the bag. Even if you don't have the assets, which you won't, to cover this deal, or very likely won't, to cover this deal, they will end up driving you into bankruptcy if you decide to leave and they call it. So that's a pretty big incentive for you to stay in the deal. So I hope that helps. That's very, very short explanation on how to address the funding for a deal. If you found this helpful, head over to brucewhipple.com, and there's actually a report, free report, where to find funding for your deal, and it lists 22 sources of funding.